Do not question the how. Feel manifestation is real. This is Hyptoria, hypnotize you to manifest. If you knew it was already yours, would you still ask how? Really pause here. Breathe that in. If you knew the thing you've been aching for, praying for, manifesting vision boards for, was already yours, already done, already printed in the invisible, would you still be obsessing over how it will get to you? Feel the answer, not just in your head, but in your belly, in your chest. You wouldn't. There would be a quiet hush of sovereignty within you, a sacred exhale. You'd stop scanning the horizon for signals. You'd stop begging the universe for signs. You'd simply become the one who has it. That presence, the presence of having, is the doorway. It's the entire code, and the moment you walk through it, reality becomes malleable. The world shifts, not because you forced it, not because you earned it, but because you became it. The number one block in manifestation isn't doubt, it's asking how. Because beneath that question is the subtle vibration of something missing, of separation, of delay, of not yet. But the law doesn't operate on logic. It flows through feeling. It listens only to the atmosphere of your inner world, the tone of your being. And asking how is like turning your sacred creative power into a linear math problem. The divine doesn't speak in spreadsheets. It speaks in state, depth, frequency, emotion. Creation isn't something you figure out. It's something you accept. When you fixate on the how, the method, the plan, the perfect sequence of external events, you are placing your power outside of yourself. But manifestation begins by reclaiming that power, not from the world, not from another, but from the version of you that has always known, it's already mine. Let that version breathe through you right now. Lesson 1. Stop asking how, start feeling it's done. Close your eyes if you can and see them. The you who isn't trying, isn't chasing, isn't anxious. The you who is certain, who glows, who walks in the room and alters the energy without saying a word. The you who does not grasp for what is already owned. Because that is where it starts, right there. Not with a strategy, not with a step-by-step plan, but with your state. What you choose to become internally will always pull the rest of the world into alignment. Searching desperately for the how is the spiritual equivalent of running underwater, exhausting, pointless, and unnecessary. The truth is, the how was never your job. Your only task, the only real work in manifestation, is to dwell in the end. Not visit it, dwell, abide, bathe in it. Return to it in the quiet moments of your day. Let it sneak into your breath. Let the feeling of your fulfilled desire wrap around your nervous system like a blanket. Let it make a home in your senses. You are not here to monitor the unfolding. You are here to know that you are the cause. And the cause isn't a hustle. It's not a perfect mindset. It's not even a vision board ritual. It's the frequency you choose, moment to moment, to live inside of. It's the bold declaration, spoken in the silence of your being. It is done. And because it is done, I release the how. When you stop demanding the roadmap, the universe gets to surprise you. You step out of the tiny paradigm of control and into the quantum field of possibility. The answers begin to flirt with you. The path appears under your feet, not before you move, but as you move from the vibration of wholeness. You don't realize you've been guided until you look back and see the miracle pattern. But miracles don't speak in explanation. They speak in response to embodiment. So let this be your practice, not just today, but from this moment on. I don't need to know how, I already am. Say it until your cells remember, until the part of you that's still doubting dissolves, until the only tone left in your body is completion. The how is not missing, it's irrelevant. Because when you become the version of yourself who feels it done, the manifestation isn't waiting, it's activated. Right here, right now, in you. Lesson 2. The feeling is the manifestation. It is not the thing that proves the thing, it is the feeling. The moment you feel it is real, not wishfully, not hopefully, not conditionally, but seriously, deeply, unshakably real, it already is. This is the truth that collapses time, dissolves striving, and unlocks the heart of creation. You must understand this. What you feel in this moment activates what must show up next. The world does not bring you proof before you believe. The belief is the proof. The feeling is the fruit. You don't wait for it to become true. You feel it true, and it becomes. Breathe that in. We've been conditioned to reverse the power flow. We're taught to rely on what we see with the physical eyes, measure with logic, and verify with worldly validation. But manifestation operates in reverse. Vision didn't create the world you see. Vibration did. Emotion, assumption, state, these are the blueprints of experience. The outer is simply a projection of what you've declared true in the unseen. Pause for a moment. Let yourself drop into that. If you could feel the relationship already loyal, the business already soaring, the body already healed, just feel it in your bones, in your breath, in the cells of your being. That shift would change more in an instant than 10 years of trying. The work is not in getting the thing, it's in conditioning the self. Manifestation is less about achieving and more about accepting. Not from ego, but from identity. There is no wrestle, no battle, no hustle in the God frequency. You do not have to beg for what your soul already owns. You only need to feel home in it. When you change your emotional tone, your universe has no choice but to respond. It is law, not luck. Most people think they need to get the thing to feel the feeling. But here is the inversion that liberates you. You feel the feeling and the thing must follow. The feeling is not a response. It is a command. Emotion is creative technology, and it speaks a language the universe knows well. So ask yourself now, what would it feel like if it were already done? What would the breath in your chest feel like if you knew the money was already yours? How would you stand, walk, speak if you knew the love already existed, already belonged to you? How would you wake up in the morning if you had already arrived in the version of you who gets the overflow without effort? Most don't pause long enough to embody it. They skim the surface of the feeling and then run back to checking the bank account, the DMs, the calendar, as if the physical confirms the metaphysical. But you're transcending that version of manifesting now, because the real shift is not when the world changes. It's when your nervous system doesn't flinch anymore, when your body holds the frequency of it being done, while the senses have the audacity to still disagree. Feel it anyway. This is how miracles begin, in quiet moments when you dare to believe your own inner atmosphere more than your outer circumstances. When your feelings carry more authority than your fears. When your inner world is a sanctuary of certainty. Not because you've seen the finish line, but because you've already stood inside it. Your emotional state is the womb of your reality. Your identity, what you accept as truth, determines what can take root and grow. This is not about pretending, and it's not about performing. It's about becoming. Your self-image is the gatekeeper of your manifestation. What you emotionally accept about yourself becomes your magnet. So, repeat with me now, it's not coming, it's here. Take your desire off the pedestal, take yourself off the waiting list. Stop placing the thing you want out there in time and distance. Pull it in. Wrap it around your body like a warm coat. Let your voice vibrate as the version of you who already holds it. When you feel it fully, the universe bends around to match you. And if you're wondering, but how long do I have to feel it? That's the old energy asking, because the one who truly feels it real doesn't clock the time. They're too absorbed in the frequency. The feeling is fulfilling in and of itself. It becomes the reward, and then, without warning but always on time, the physical mirrors it back. This is the art of effortless creation, the alchemy of presence. You're not here to feel it once and hope. You're here to dwell in it like a home. To enter your desire not as a visitor, but as the owner. To claim it in your body, anchor it in your breath, until your entire being screams back to the world, it is done. Not because it looks done, but because you feel it that way. And that is enough. Lesson 3, Logic Blocks, Miracles. The miracle doesn't need your explanation. It only asks for your surrender. The moment you attempt to decode the mystery, you squeeze the magic into a framework far too small to hold it. Logic wants to map it step by step, but divine creation does not walk in a straight line. It spirals, it dances, it arrives through the back door of knowing, not the front gate of reason. You were conditioned to worship logic. You were praised for being rational, applauded for being grounded, congratulated for staying realistic. But the realest creations are born outside of reason. They live in the realm of the unseen, the intuitive, the wild, untamed certainty in your soul that simply knows, this is mine. Let's be clear, logic is not the enemy. It has its place, but that place is behind the heart, not ahead of it. Logic is a servant, not a master. It organizes what you have already felt. It helps shape the details after the birth of belief. But when you make logic the gatekeeper of your desires, you deny everything that cannot be measured, timed, or explained. And miracles refuse to fit inside spreadsheets. They bend time. They override probabilities. They break rules beautifully. Why? Because they are not born of thought. They are born of vibration. Your miracle doesn't show up through analysis. It arrives through alignment. Your job is not to plot the pathway, but to become the frequency. But let's talk about the addiction, the fixation with how, the inner need to make it make sense. You think, if I could just figure it out, I'd feel calm. You believe that understanding equals power. But here's the truth that will set you free. Your power comes from presence, not proof. Miracles bloom when you're too aligned to doubt, too surrendered to measure, too embodied to need a reason. The most extraordinary chapters of your life won't make sense until much later. And by the time they do, you'll no longer need them to. The blessing has already rewritten your reality. The how becomes irrelevant once the it is arrives. If you keep waiting for your manifestation to seem logical, you'll delay it indefinitely. Because here's the paradox. Logic requires evidence. Manifestation requires emotion. Your emotions are the early arrival of your manifestation. They are the whispers from your future self saying, this is real now. When you feel the joy, the relief, the certainty, before there's proof, the universe rearranges itself accordingly. That's not fantasy. That's frequency. This is why the mystery is sacred. Your spiritual power lies in becoming okay with not knowing exactly how it's coming, and yet feeling its arrival as inevitable. When you cling to control, you block the flow. When you loosen your grip, you allow grace. There comes a point in the path of conscious creation when you must trade analysis for awe. You must stop dissecting the seed and simply water it. You must stop asking how it will bloom and start basking in the garden that already exists within your imagination. You do not need to think harder. You need to feel deeper. Become the version of yourself who already lives in the answered prayer. Walk as if. Breathe as if. Let your body memorize the miracle before your mind tries to explain it. The shift happens when you let mystery be your method. And I know it's scary to trust the unseen. It's terrifying to lean into the unknown when you've been taught that certainty only comes from repeating the past. But what if repeating the past is the very thing holding you apart from the divine timelines waiting to unfold? What if faith isn't a bridge you build after the evidence, but the doorway you walk through before you see anything at all? Let go of needing to know how it's going to happen. You are not here to manifest logically. You are here to feel your way into miracles that break every rule your mind could ever cling to. This is the true alchemy. When you stop explaining and start embodying, the miracle requires your belief, not your blueprint. So soften, breathe, let the logic crumble just long enough for the sacred to rise. Stop asking your mind to approve what your soul is already living. Because, beloved, logic has limits, but you do not. And neither do your manifestations. Lesson 4. Trust the vibration, not the timeline. The moment you ask, when will it happen? You've stepped out of the state of already having. You've shifted your energy from embodiment to expectancy, from now to not yet. And in doing so, you've moved the experience away from you. Manifestation is not delayed because the universe is late. It's withheld from awareness because you've shifted timelines, from faith into forgetfulness. When you live according to time, you submit yourself to the illusion of distance. You see your desire as far away, and this seeing becomes your sending. You project the outcome into a future moment and wonder why it doesn't arrive into the now. But nothing real lives in the future. Everything real is only ever now. The dream you think will one day be yours is only available through the frequency of it already being so. This is the paradox that bends worlds. The sooner you stop asking when, the faster it appears, because you've returned to the God seat of knowing. Time is not your source. Time is delayed confirmation of your inner atmosphere. You are not waiting for the thing. You are waiting for the resonance to catch up with itself. And that resonance is within your choice. Always. The timeline cannot give you what the vibration has not claimed. Impatience is not a neutral feeling. It's an energetic declaration that says, "It's not here. I don't have it. I'm separate from it." And so long as you entertain that energy, you dance with delay. But here is where freedom begins. Impatience, doubt, frustration. These are not flaws. They're signals. They are your own emotional guidance system alerting you that you've stepped out of the reality you desire. You haven't failed. You've simply forgotten your place in the ever-now field of creation. When your desire lives as a pulse within you, when it feels natural, obvious, inevitable, that's when you're living in the fulfilled state. And once you're dwelling in that vibration, time becomes irrelevant. You stop trying to count days and start counting blessings already felt. Even before they show to the eye, they have spoken to the heart. And the heart is the true clock of manifestation. Its rhythm is not linear. It is quantum. It collapses spaces. It overrides history. It invites the invisible to rise into form. You will know your manifestation is close, not because of external signs, but because you'll stop craving proof. You will feel the event as natural within your nervous system. No performing, no pretending, just living from the truth that it is done. This is why some manifestations land out of nowhere. They don't actually arrive from the sky. They arrive from alignment. The outside finally mirrors what your inner world had already accepted. And so, it feels instant, miraculous, wild, but in truth, it's simply the timeline bending to the tone you finally held long enough. You don't need to manipulate the clock. You don't need to know the date. You don't need assurance by schedule. You are creating beyond time. You are operating in frequency. When fear whispers, "But it's taking too long," you can answer with a fuller truth. I trust the vibration more than the calendar. Because the vibration is present. The vibration is alive. And the vibration is the womb of manifestation. Time only reveals what the energy has already made. So let time go. Let impatience dissolve. Let the when melt into the now. Stay in the energy and the evidence will come. Stay in the living frequency of the wish fulfilled and reality will bow to match you. What if you expected miracles today? Not because of the date, but because of your dwelling. What if you stopped measuring time and started measuring tone? What if you trusted that the timeline isn't late? It's just aligning to your authenticity. Everything is closer than you think, but your thinking doesn't bring it in. Your feeling does. Lesson 5. The secret door. Feeling is the path. There is a moment in your journey when striving suddenly exhausts you, when the vision you've been chasing begins to feel like a memory instead of a dream, when silence grows louder than the noise of effort, and it dawns on you, there has always been another way. There is. It is the way beneath the noise, the unseen path, the secret door, and you find it not by doing more, but by feeling deeper. The path you've been looking for will never be paved in logic. It will not announce itself with steps. It won't ask you to hustle or prove your worth. It waits inside the stillness, where certainty replaces strategy. This is the door that leads to everything your spirit has ever longed for, and yet it opens without sweat, without force, without effort. How do you walk through it? You feel your way. Feeling is the forgotten magic. It is the language of the unseen. When you feel it real, the door swings open without resistance. This isn't about acting as if in a performance. This is becoming it internally first. It's the moment you stop waiting for evidence because the vibration itself becomes enough. You are no longer chasing the outcome. You are dwelling in the frequency of it already done. That is the shift. That is the doorway. Your body knows how to access this place. The breath is the key, the senses are the compass, and your imagination is the bridge. When you close your eyes and enter the feeling, deeply, fully, without doubt, reality begins to bend. The outside adjusts to meet the truth of your inner state. The door does not unlock because you worked hard. It opens because you remembered what's real. And what's real? The frequency you dwell in, the identity you embody, the energy you hold in the now. We've been taught to earn results, but true creation is not a transaction. It is a trance, a state of being so saturated in the experience of your desire fulfilled that the universe has no choice but to reflect it. And that state lives within, always. Feel the relief of it done. Feel the joy of receiving. Feel the safety of knowing it's yours. Let your nervous system taste it. Let your heart melt into it. This is not fantasy. This is frequency, and frequency is the first cause. There is no exterior match without an internal match. There is no manifestation without metabolic proof. Your body must believe it's already inside the experience. That's why breathwork matters. That's why visualization is powerful, because they bypass the mind and teach the body to remember. You've already been through the door before, perhaps in a moment of deep prayer, a sudden wave of gratitude, or a flash of inspiration where you simply knew. Time disappeared, the logic turned off, and in that moment, you were it. The state met you. That flash, that was a doorway. And you can walk through it again and again, not by finding it, but by becoming it. There is no distance between you and what you want, only a vibrational shift. So, sit back, relax your belly, breathe deeper. Let your shoulders drop and your chest soften. Now, let the image form, clear, rich, alive. See yourself living it. But more than seeing, breathe into the feel of it. Know it in your bones. Let joy rise. Let gratitude surge. Let it touch your skin as if it's already here, because in this field, it is. This is incarnation, not just the soul inhabiting a body, but desire inhabiting your senses. This is embodiment, and it is here, in this remembered state, that magnetism is born. The law bends not for words or pleas, but for presence. And your presence is strongest when your feeling is fullest. You were never blocked, you simply forgot how to feel your way forward. Now you know. The secret door is never somewhere else. It is always here, always now, always inside of you. And you don't knock to enter, you feel to open. Lesson 6, doubt delays, knowing creates. You are not waiting on the universe. The universe is waiting on you to stop hesitating. The moment you shift out of doubt and into knowing, your reality catches up. Doubt is not harmless wondering. It's a vibration that delays. You may think you're being realistic when you question whether your desire can arrive. But the truth, every time you doubt, you're flipping the light switch off on your manifestation. Creation happens through certainty. Not the kind built on evidence, but the kind born in the unseen. The kind that breathes in quiet knowing. When you walk in spiritual certainty, you are no longer negotiating with life. You're not peeking outside and asking, is it coming? Instead, you declare with stillness, it already is. Most people think manifestation is about convincing the universe. But the universe is always yes. It's your yes that's under question. Doubt is a soundless conversation you're having with your own power. Every inner whisper that says, what if it doesn't work? Or, what if I'm wrong? Is felt not just in your mind. It's encoded into your frequency. And frequency is what the law listens to. Your outcome is never an accident. It is a printout of your persistent state. You can't fake belief, but you can revise the story you're telling yourself until belief naturally arises. Shift your narrative, and your state will follow. If doubt loops through you like static, it means you're repeating an old script, one you didn't write. It was written by past failures, inherited fears, or collective conditioning, but you are not bound to it. Empowerment begins when you realize this story, this vibration, this entire emotional script, it's editable. So, revise it, not just mentally, but vibrationally. Start with how you speak to yourself in the silence. Instead of, I hope this happens, try, I know this is done. Instead of, what if it never comes? Shift into, it already lives in me. You're not affirming to convince the universe. You're affirming to tune your instrument, to shed the static, so the frequency of your creation can transmit loud and clear. Doubt feels like tightness, like waiting, like bargaining with the unknown. Knowing feels like exhaling. It's soft, yet powerful. It's quiet, because it doesn't need validation. When you're in knowing, there's no need to chase signs. You become the sign. You walk differently. You speak differently. You no longer ask, how much longer? Because you're not in transit. You're already arrived in consciousness. The feeling of done is magnetic. The universe responds immediately to conviction, Not because conviction is louder, but because it's cleaner. Doubt muddies the waters. Knowing clarifies the channel. The moment you decide that your inner world is more real than appearances, manifestation begins to accelerate. At some point, you must cross the invisible line, the one that separates hoping from claiming. That moment is everything. That moment collapses time. In that moment, your desire is no longer outside of you. It becomes you, and once it does, reality reorganizes to reflect it. Knowing is not effort. It's relaxation into truth. When you truly believe something is yours, you don't need evidence. The feeling is evidence. Just as you don't need to keep checking your bank account after you've deposited a check, you don't need to keep checking reality when you know your frequency has already filed the request. Let infinity deliver without micromanaging the delivery. There's nothing wrong with doubt flickering in, but when it does, notice it, and don't feed it. Don't let it grow roots. Gently return to your inner authority. Remember who you are. You are not a beggar trying to earn your manifestation. You are the source of it. The dream doesn't create you, you create the dream. So the question is not, will it happen? The question is, can I embody the version of me where it already has? Start being that version now. Speak as they speak, feel as they feel, move as they move. Be still like they're still, because they don't wait. They hold, they trust, they know. And from that place of knowing, everything flows. Lesson 7, you're not here to figure it out. You were never meant to wrestle with the universe. You are not here to decode the infinite with your finite mind. Manifestation is not a riddle to be solved. It's a frequency to be entered. And the more you try to logically calculate your way in, the more doors will remain closed to you. Why? Because the sacred doesn't yield to strategy. It surrenders to feeling. It speaks to your knowing, not your analysis. And deep down, you've always known this, that quiet whisper in your chest, the flicker of intuition rising up before your mind interrupts. That is the way. Your power was never in your reasoning, it's in your resonance. The ones who create with ease are not smarter, more deserving, or better prepared. They simply know how to get out of the way. They stop asking, "What should I do?" and start listening for the inner current. A flow so rich, so alive, that it can take you beyond what planning ever could. This flow is not chaos. It is divine clarity without explanation. Once you stop asking for a roadmap, you realize you're already on the path. Your feeling is the compass, and when you honor it, life rises to meet you. Let yourself be carried. This chapter is a permission slip to release the obsessive need to figure things out. You don't need to have all the details. In truth, you've never needed them. Remember the moments when everything just worked out. Without trying, without stress, without control. That wasn't luck. That was your spirit leading without resistance. The mind hadn't had time to panic yet. That was you, aligned, open, receptive. And now you are being called to live from that place consciously. Trying to figure out how activates your small self, the one that lives in limitation and survival. But feeling it already done calls forth your God self, the one that lives in pure creation, in inevitability. When you try to strategize your manifestations, you beg reality to fit a mold that's already too small for the magic trying to reach you. But when you trust the whispers, the nudges, the tiny elevator lifts of alignment, you begin walking not by sight, but by sensation. And sensation is where the real you lives. Creativity itself does not arrive through intellect. It flows through stillness and space. The greatest ideas come not from overthinking, but from a quiet mind and an open heart. The same is true for manifestation. Creation doesn't come from thought alone. It comes from transmission. Feel, listen, move with the frequency, not the formula. Your energy will always hold higher intelligence than your thoughts. The real question is not, what should I do, but what do I already know deep down? Because you do know. That's what intuition is, memory from the future, and it's not faint. You've just been too loud to hear it. Silence the noise, and the knowing becomes thunder. Maybe you've been trying to make all the right moves, say the right affirmations, map out your success, but still feel stuck. That's a sign you're driving from the head, not the soul. The soul does not hustle, it harmonizes. It does not try, it tunes. This is the shift from doing to being, from panic to presence. So ask yourself, what would it feel like if it were already figured out? Rest in that. Lean into that. Let that be your prayer, your plan, your permission. You are held by an intelligence that choreographs the galaxies. Surely it can manage your next chapter, but it won't reveal it to your logic. It will reveal it to your spirit through feeling. Through the moment you stop grasping and begin receiving. This is your invitation to live from alignment, not analysis. To walk boldly with an open heart and a quiet mind. Creation is not earned. It is revealed, and revelation always comes to the surrendered self. So, stop trying to figure it out. You were never supposed to. You were always meant to feel it already done. Let life surprise you. Let the unknown bless you. Let your vibration make the decisions, and let your soul lead the way home. Lesson 8. Imagination is the evidence. Everything you need to create your new reality already lives inside you. The proof? You can imagine it. Let that sink in. The very fact that you can see it, feel it, live it in the mind before it touches your physical world is not wishful thinking. It is the first sign of creation. Your imagination is the evidence of what is already yours. It is the divine preview of what you are meant to experience. If you could not imagine it, you would not be in resonance with it. You are. There is a quiet divinity in the space between thought and thing. In that silent stretch lies imagination, the first portal of spiritual birth. We have been taught to trust what is seen, touched, measured, but the world you can interact with physically is only a reflection. The source of all manifestation begins in unseen realms. Every single reality, every business, every relationship, every healing began in the theater of the mind. The moment you see it within, you fertilize the seed. Momentum builds, reality bends. But here's the shift you have to make. Imagination is not fantasy. Fantasy feels like someday. Imagination, when embodied, becomes now. This is what most miss. They dream, they wish, they visualize. But they don't feel it as already real. They keep their desires at a distance, not realizing that distance is created by doubt. Imagination is not passive daydreaming. It is divine rehearsing. When you enter the scene in your imagination and claim it as already yours, breath deepens, heart opens, and cells begin to respond. You are remembering your true role as creator. You've been told imagination is childish, but what if it's sacred? What if it's your direct line to the unseen? What if the child knew what we've forgotten? How to pretend until it's real, because it already is. The child doesn't question timelines. They don't count the hours or demand the evidence. They run toward desire with open arms and full belief, and the universe responds accordingly. The child within you still knows how. Step into your desired scene again, not as an observer, as the actor, no, the experiencer. Feel the texture of your new life, the sound of your freedom, the warmth of that embrace. Hear the conversation you'll have when you receive the thing you've been wanting, not someday, but now. Whisper it quietly. Thank you. It's already mine. This is not pretending. This is aligning. There is no need to wait until life shows you the evidence. You are the evidence. Your imagination is the receipt. It proves that the version of you who already has it exists somewhere, and every time you rehearse that reality inside, you get closer to it, not in distance, but in identity. You start to match it. You start to become the one who lives it effortlessly. And as you become, the world conforms. Most people are trying to manifest from lack. They see the desire as outside of them, and they push, grind, hope, wonder. But when you go within and claim it through imagination, something sacred happens. The separation dissolves, not having turns into having. Longing turns into gratitude. The void becomes full, and what once seemed far is now felt near. Not because it arrived, but because you did. Imagination doesn't work because it tricks the universe. It works because it shifts your state, and your state is the magnet. When you feel it's real in imagination, you give your nervous system a new script. You tell your energy where to go, and soon the outer mirrors the inner. Not because you forced it, but because you embodied it. So close your eyes tonight not to escape the day, but to enter the world where it's already done. Not just once, not just quickly, not like a wish. Dwell there. Eat dinner with your future. Laugh with them. Kiss them on the cheek. Sign the deal. Watch the payment hit. Hear the applause. Not from hope, from knowing. You wouldn't see it if it wasn't already yours. There is no greater proof than inner vision. Imagination is your invitation to live the end now, to collapse the gaps, override the evidence, and command your reality from within. What you repeatedly imagine becomes what you repeatedly expect, and what you expect, you create, again and again. Use this power like breath, often, naturally, freely, see it, feel it, stay there. That is the evidence, and the evidence is enough. Lesson 9, the law responds to emotion, not effort. It was never your hard work that made things happen. It was never the perfect plan or the grinding hustle. The universe has never been impressed by how much you sweat, only how deeply you feel. Behind every effort lies a vibration. And when effort comes from lack, striving, or fear, it sends out a frequency of not having. The harder you push to make something real, the louder the signal you're broadcasting. It's not here yet. The law, impersonal, eternal, exact, responds not to what you do, but to who you are while you do it. It listens not to your voice, but to your vibration. You've been told to work harder, to make it happen. But the law doesn't move for pressure, it dances to alignment. And alignment isn't a workload, it's a state of being. Creation doesn't flow from burnt-out muscles and busy tasks. It flows from emotion, from the sacred electricity of the feeling state you dwell in. Your emotion is the real command. If you act out of unworthiness, the action is tainted. If you speak out of desperation, the words echo with doubt. But when you feel from the end, when you generate the inner emotional experience of already having it, then you awaken a dormant law that instantly begins reconfiguring your reality. Let go of the false god of effort equals outcome. That belongs to a limited paradigm, one built on the illusion of separation and scarcity. In truth, all you seek already exists in potential, and the only veil is your emotional state. The more you try to prove your worthiness through doing, the more you delay your receiving. You are worthy, because you are. And when you rest in that truth, your emotions shift into resonance with having, and having is the only frequency that manifests. The law picks up how you feel about what you are imagining, not just what you think, but the emotional frequency of your thought. A faint visualization with no emotion carries no charge, no signal, but a single moment of deep feeling alignment can collapse timelines. Your elevated emotion becomes the beacon that reshapes mountains, bends circumstances, opens doors where you saw walls. You don't need to chase the thing. You need to feel the thing. You need to bathe your nervous system in the embodied memory of it already being done. That feeling, that fully surrendered, fully saturated feeling, is the code the law recognizes. Not effort, not grind, feeling. Think back to your biggest miracles, the ones that felt like magic, like impossibility made real. Were you forcing it? Or were you in a soft state of surrender, of deep trust, of emotional alignment with what you wanted? Often miracles come not at the end of your push, but the moment you release the grip. Not when you figure it all out, but when you finally feel free enough to believe. Emotion is your most powerful language. When you connect with the joy of having, the peace of knowing, the excitement of receiving, you enter frequencies that draw everything to you. Emotions are not decorations on your manifestations. They are the engine, the paint, the clay. Everything is shaped by what you feel. When you really let that truth melt into your cells, you no longer measure your day by how productive it felt. You ask instead, what did I feel? Did I feel worthy? Did I feel loved? Did I feel as if it was already mine? Those emotions are not just soft sensations. They are electromagnetic pulses sent into the infinite field that mirrors your state exactly. So, pause, breathe. Ask yourself not what else you need to do, but what you need to feel. Put down the endless checklist and pick up the frequency of fulfillment. You cannot fake this. You cannot check off boxes to fool the law. The only thing that ever creates is congruence, the inner and outer synced in perfect vibration. Don't ask if you're doing enough. Ask, does this emotion belong to the version of me who already has it? All change springs from identity, and identity is built from emotional tone, moment after moment. You can lie to the world with your words, but never to the law with your vibration. So, let that be your walk, not a march of force, but a dance of feeling. Manifestation is not a mountain you climb, it is a state you remember. And when you remember how to feel it done, your world reorganizes itself to match. Your work is not to try harder, your work is to feel deeper, because the law does not respond to struggle, it responds to truth, and your emotion, pure and embodied, is the loudest truth of all. Lesson 10. Drop the question, dwell in the answer. The moment you stop questioning whether it's coming, it comes. The instant you stop asking when, the moment you stop checking, doubting, seeking clues, you slip into the only vibration that ever mattered. It is already done. You were never meant to live in the question. The question carries the frequency of lack. The question says, I don't have it yet. The question says, I'm not sure. The question anchors you to a state of not having. But manifestation, real, soul-aligned manifestation, arrives not through asking, but through assuming. It finds you when you're no longer waiting for it. It meets you in the place where you've already decided it's yours. You don't manifest by begging the universe to answer. You manifest by coming into resonance with the answer itself. Most people get caught in a loop of spiritual anxiety, obsessively checking for signs, asking for confirmation, refreshing their inner world like a phone screen, hoping the next second will reveal proof. But the proof never lands in the place of uncertainty. Proof responds to your knowing. The universe is not answering your words. It is responding to your state. So ask yourself, what if I stopped asking? What if I dropped the mental questions like, am I doing it right? Where is it? Is it working? And entered the frequency of truth? Because here's the truth. If you're asking whether it's working, you're not yet being the one who knows. And the one who knows doesn't need to ask. The miracle is born in your ability to dwell in the answer before it visibly arrives. Not to parrot affirmations, not to try to manipulate time, not to force feelings that aren't fully true, but to soften into the version of you who doesn't need evidence. To embody the one who already received, already became, already is. This is where the shift occurs, when you stop waiting and start inhabiting, when you cease to chase and begin to align. And how do you know when you've made the shift? You stop checking, you stop grasping, you begin living. You start waking up in the vibration of thank you instead of where is it? You start walking through the world with the posture of a receiver, not a seeker. Something inside you clicks, opens, and settles. You feel it in your chest, that warm, expansive sense of peace that whispers, it's done. It was always done. All that questioning, that was old self-energy trying to survive. The self who didn't know their divine ability. The self who thought they had to earn it, prove it, perfect it before it arrived. But now you return home, to the self that simply knows. This knowing does not fight for control. It breathes, it moves gracefully. It lets the timing be divine because it's not in doubt. It's in harmony. It's in trust. When you dwell in the answer, your entire field changes. You vibrate differently. You speak from a place of rooted wholeness. You no longer perform for the universe. You commune with it. You no longer try to convince God to give. You realize God is giving through you. That shift, that's what creates. And sometimes, the most powerful move you can make is to stop moving. Stop swirling in spiritual performance. Stop grasping for techniques and strategies and perfect words. And simply return to the state of felt completion. Sit with the version of you who has it all. See them. Breathe with them, merge with them, feel their energy and realize they are not a future version. They are here now, living inside the vibration you choose to carry. When you choose to dwell in the answer, the question dissolves, the timeline dissolves. All the how, when, and what if fade into divine irrelevance. Because you're not living for the answer anymore. You're living as it. And that is where manifestation moves from theory to embodiment. From dream to form, from hope to holy knowing. Nothing is missing, no more asking, only being. Be in the answer. Let it breathe you, let it move you, let it speak through your presence, your choices, your light, until the outside has no choice but to reflect the inner truth you so fully chose to become. Lesson 11. It's real because you felt it. Everything you see began as something unseen. Everything you touch began as something felt. Creation does not begin in the physical. It begins in consciousness. Your desire becomes real the moment you allow it to be felt without conditions, without needing evidence. Not when it appears, not when someone else agrees, not when the bank account changes or the love text comes through or the deal closes. It's real because you felt it. You let it live in you before anything around you changed. And by law, silent, holy, universal law, the outer must obey the inner. The heart does not need permission to imagine fully. The soul does not require logic to believe. Your future wants to rush into form the moment you stop waiting for confirmation. Feeling is not a strategy. Feeling is a dimension. When you feel a thing is true, you are no longer trying to get it. You have entered the state of it, the vibration of it. The world begins to rearrange not because you've convinced it, but because you have said to yourself, "This is who I am." It's not wishful thinking, it's identity. What you feel deeply, consistently, lovingly, becomes a mold for reality to fill. But many are waiting to see something first. They ask, "How do I know it's working?" They say, "What if I'm deluding myself?" And unknowingly, they walk backward, away from the promise and back into the prison of proof. But no manifestation is born from doubt. It is born from knowing, unshakable, felt knowing. This isn't about pretending, it's about remembering. You're not making something happen. You're tuning into something that's already alive in a higher room. You're not begging the universe to deliver. You're aligning with the version of yourself that already has it and realizing you always were that version. When the feeling becomes natural, the evidence becomes obvious. When you no longer need to ask, "Where is it?" it shows up. Can you sit in the quiet of your room and feel what it's like to be loved? Can you walk down the street and feel what it's like to be wealthy, confident, at peace? Not because it's already happened in the world, but because it's already happened in you. The question is not whether you're worthy. It's whether you're willing to feel what you've asked for before it arrives. Because reality is not reacting to your words. It's responding to your embodiment. There is no power in hoping you'll receive. Power begins the moment you claim yourself as already having. Feel it before it makes sense. Feel it before the circumstances agree. Feel it without closing your heart halfway. This feeling, this silent inner claiming, is the real cause. It is the seed, the signature vibration, the yes that everything else must answer to. So don't wait for the world. Invite the world in. Hold the frequency, marinate in the energy, soak your cells with the reality of already being. It was always yours. The moment it entered your mind, it was done. The feeling is not a side effect. It is the main event. Feel it, not to get something. Feel it to return home to who you are. It's real because you felt it, and because you felt it, it must become. Lesson 12, manifestation happens in the heart, not the head. If you want to feel the truth of a moment before the evidence arrives, place your hand on your heart, not on your mind, not on your plans. Breathe into the stillness where logic has no voice, where expectation fades, and where pure knowing glows quietly like a sun beneath your ribs. This is the true center of creation, not the calculating intellect, but the furnace of the heart. You were never meant to think your manifestations into reality. You were meant to feel them, experience them energetically, live them from within. The head is clever, but it doesn't create. The mind will try to control, dissect, and analyze. It's loud, fast, restless. But manifestation doesn't bloom from thought pressure. It blooms from vibrational truth, a truth you access only in the silence of your being. The mind is your servant, the heart, your source. It can be so tempting to overthink this beautiful mystery, to make it complicated. Did I visualize it right? Am I doing it enough? What's the best affirmation? Should I script every day? But those questions pull you upward, out of your body, into the judging space where magic is postponed. In the mental realm, you're always waiting, analyzing, worrying. That's not creation, that's separation. But, when you drop back into the heart, you stop waiting and start radiant being. You stop narrating and start embodying. What if, right here, you gave yourself permission to forget the technique and remember the feeling? You have already had the thought. You've envisioned the desire. You've named it. Now the invitation is to fall deeper than thought can go, until only the vibration remains. The how dissolves. The doubts evaporate. You are no longer wondering if it's coming. In the heart space, it already has. When you rest in the fulfilled heart, creation flows like honey. Reality feels soft. Your energy becomes a landing pad for miracles because you're not trying to summon them. You are resonating with them. Manifestation at this level is not about manipulating matter. It is about merging with the essence of what you seek. You're not trying to get love. You're embodying the frequency of I am loved. You're not chasing abundance. You're dwelling in the heartbeat of I am supported. And when you feel it real, the world moves to reflect you without resistance. The heart is where timelines collapse. The deepest shifts of your life won't come through strategies. They'll come through a gentle moment in the dark where you sighed into certainty. They'll come through that tear you didn't expect, from a breath that grounded you, from a still inner voice that whispered, I already am. These are the moments where new worlds imprint themselves into your vibration, not because you thought it, but because you felt it. Do not shame your mind. It's trying to help. It's trying to protect, calculate, solve. But its gifts have limits. At some point, to truly manifest, you must go beyond it. And not with force, but with presence. The heart doesn't need to argue. It's not trying to prove. It simply knows. And when you live from this knowing, you become magnetic without trying. There is no greater signal to the universe than a heart that has already accepted the blessing. A heart that holds the desire like a memory instead of a wish. Not, someday I'll get it, but thank you, I already have it. Here, now. Can you feel the difference? You do not need more answers. You need deeper surrender. You need to feel your way into the state where nothing is missing and everything is now. The next time you want to manifest, don't search your mind. Place a hand on your chest and breathe into the vision that no one sees but you. Feel it without a timeline. Love it without attachment. Let your heart become the home where that reality already lives, safely, sweetly, securely. You were not designed to manifest through pressure. You were born to create through presence. Your heart is the bridge. Stop trying to understand it and start living from it. Right now, close your eyes, breathe. Imagine your desire is already fulfilled, not as a fantasy, but as a felt truth. What emotion arises? Joy, safety, expansion. Let that emotion become the power station of your field. It's not far away, it's inside you, and that is where creation begins.